Let's talk to Dimitri in California. It says that the best argument for God is fine-tuning. This is familiar. How are you doing, Dimitri?
Hi, thanks for taking my call. Hi, I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Pretty good. Let's
Doing
talk
well,
about
thanks.
the fine-tuning argument. How can you defend it?
Okay, so I should probably first explain what's meant by fine-tuning, because I think different people kind of understand it a little bit differently. But the way I'm using this term is basically the same way that it's used in physics. So fine-tuning means that well, there are like certain fundamental constants and quantities that enter in the like equations of fundamental physics, something like the speed of light, the mass of the electron, and so on. And so what's meant by fine-tuning is, so it's the idea that if those constants were a little bit different from what they actually are, then we could show that the universe would be such that complex structures would not be able to form. And of course, complex structures are necessary for life to exist.
Can I clarify and see if I understand what you're saying? Are you saying that if everything wasn't the way it is, then it wouldn't be that way?
No, because that would be a tautology. No, so we find ourselves in a universe where those constants and quantities are such that complex structures are possible. And of course, we being alive, we are complex structures.
Sure. So the first question, Dimitri, is, do we have evidence to show that it could have been any other way? No. The answer is no. I'm going to save you the time and save the entire argument. If you think that we have evidence that it could have been another way, that's simply not true. We have no other universes to investigate. We can't rewind the clock. We cannot show that it was possible for the foundations of physics, for the things that you want to point to in physics as fine-tuning, that it's not possible that they could. We can't show that it's possible they could have been another way. And if we were to go through the hypothetical set of possibilities, yes, of course, it is in fact a tautology to say that the universe is fine-tuned for what the universe is. That is tautology, as long as you're not suggesting that the fine-tuning is anything other than agreeance with. If you're suggesting that it was fine-tuned by some sort of external decision, you would have to demonstrate that, which hasn't been demonstrated. And if we took a list of all the potential universes that could have existed, or that if we go with, the not an epistemic possibility, but a logical possibility, if we go through all the logically possible universes, then there are infinitely many where something is changed slightly that still allows for complex structures, that results in a completely different state of affairs now qua now, in which case there would be some other life form sitting here going, man, the universe is fine-tuned for me and for complex structures. And so there's no way to solve this issue other than to say, here's the state of the universe. We understand some of the physics that led to this in both a deterministic sense and otherwise. We don't know if it could have been any other way. And so the argument that it's incredibly unlikely that it should have been this way and therefore had guidance fails, because it may be 100% likely that this is the only universe that could have possibly resulted in an intelligence recognizing it.
Okay, so yes, a lot of things. Okay, so I should address some of them. So you said that there is no evidence whatsoever that the universe could have been any other way, right?
I don't see how there could be any evidence that the universe could be any other way. Do you have some ability to rewind the clock and show how it could have gone a different way?
No, but
okay, then I win.
Not exactly, because for example, if we look at what theoretical physicists are saying, most of them, if not all of them, believe that this fine-tuning is actually something that really cries out for explanation.
Yes, but hang on. So the fine-tuning within physics that you're saying they want an explanation for, these physicists, how many of them believe in a personal God?
I don't know, probably not a lot.
Probably not a lot. How many of them are advocating that a personal God or any God is the best scientific solution to the fine-tuning problem?
Again, not a lot.
Should there be anyone suggesting that a God is the best scientific explanation for the theoretical physical notion of fine-tuning?
Sure, there should be.
Why should there be? Because within science, we only get to appeal to the sort of answers that we can demonstrate are real. You don't even get to include God as a candidate explanation. Science has ruled out the supernatural as acceptable. Ruled it out as acceptable, meaning supernatural explanations are unacceptable within science because we cannot confirm them. So within science, my position is no good scientist should ever say that a God is the best scientific explanation for fine-tuning, because you can't put God within science.
I've tried.
But that doesn't mean that, for example, other people or even scientists who are currently not doing science but just thinking about the universe in general can't believe that God is.
I didn't say that. What I said was I'm looking for scientific explanations. I'm not looking for magical explanations, because I want evidence that is supported. I want explanations that are supported by evidence, not just asserted. And so that's why I like science. And science cannot make appeals to the supernatural. It's based on methodological naturalism. And so science currently, until there's a paradigm shift, no good science could ever claim a supernatural explanation is the best scientific explanation. That is impossible within science as it is now.
Yes, of course, because that's
I went again.
Science only operate. Well, not really, because
yes, really. I keep saying things that you keep agreeing are correct. So it'd be best if you moved on to the parts that are incorrect.
Well, I was just going to point that out. So
Okay.
I think we can agree that science cannot, use non-scientific explanations like God, but that doesn't mean that, philosophers or just some rational people can't think.
So it's like you're not even listening, Dimitri. I didn't say that philosophers couldn't, and I didn't say that other people couldn't. I'm talking about whether or not they should. And that gets to the question of, do you have an explanation that isn't within the realm of science? If you do, you have to show why someone should accept that.
I'd like to know how you know anything is true. How do you know something is true? Anything.
Well, I guess I look at the evidence, and I also use a priori reasoning, just logic.
So logic and evidence. How do you get this evidence? So let's say I'm telling you that I have I've used this before, a Camaro outside that runs on milk. Why should you believe me or not?
No, I shouldn't, because that's
why
implausible.
How do you know it's impossible?
Well,
he said implausible. But
implausible.
It was a hiccup in audio.
Okay. So do you agree that that is an extraordinary claim, and that's why you should not believe it?
Yes, of course.
Right. It's not impossible, right? We don't know if that's ever going to be a thing, but it's implausible, like you said. So we're not going to believe it. You're not going to say, well, there might be, right? You're just going to say, no, I don't believe you.
I mean, I can say there might be, but I can just say it's very unlikely.
Right. So you're just going to stop it. I don't think so, right?
What if Jenna said her car ran on the disembodied spirits of the dead?
Dimitri? Did we lose you?
I think we got cut off. So I was saying that that's even less likely.
How do you? No.
The argument.
How can Dimitri? I'm trying to save you from yourself. If you claim that A is less likely than B, that means that there must be some way to calculate the relative probabilities of those. How did you calculate the probability that she has a car that runs on milk? How did you calculate the probability that she has a car that runs on the spirits of the deceased because I don't know how to calculate the second one at all.
Well, I don't think you even know how to calculate the first one, right?
I absolutely do, because that is actually a testable claim. I can walk out to her car and she can present me with milk, which I can scientifically verify is milk, and I can put it in the car and I can test it and I can inspect it. The claim that I have a car that runs on milk is a falsifiable, testable claim.
That's true. Yeah, I meant.
Yeah.
You
And so how do you test whether or not a car runs on the spirits of the deceased? So it seems like every time I raise an objection that you haven't thought about, you agree with me, and then you want to tell me how I'm wrong again. So explain to us how you know that it's less probable that Jenna's car runs on the spirits of the deceased than that it runs on milk.
Well, okay, so I can definitely try to explain, but I think we've kind of strayed very far from the fine-tune.
We're making a point. We just please bear with us.
Okay, sure. Yeah, no problem. So I think I don't obviously have a way to calculate these probabilities.
Thank you. So I'm right again. Can we move on now?
Well, so that's the point, is that you don't have a way to calculate that. And what we're saying...
Point, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. Well, that's my point. And so the point is that we don't have a way to calculate that this God exists. We don't have a way to calculate that. So we're going to say, you know what? It's improbable. We don't think so. Right?
Sorry, I dropped something on the floor.
Well, I think the conclusion that you just said doesn't follow from what you said before that. You said that we can't calculate the probability of God, and therefore we should say that that's, I forgot what the words you used, but I think you said, therefore we should say that it's unlikely.
I'm not.
Doesn't really follow.
You tell me. I'm not saying anything. I'm wondering why you think we can calculate that. How can we? I'm like asking you to demonstrate how we can calculate this God, how we can verify, just like we can verify it if that car runs on milk.
See, because right now, and I'm going to let you do this, but right now we have this process by which we can evaluate the future events based on past events. And so while I don't have an exhaustive understanding of you, what I do know is that you have repeatedly been wrong or misrepresented. And then when you said, then you pretended as if you could calculate something and determine it was less likely than something else. And when I showed that was wrong, now you're going to go on to try and do it with God. And I'm going to predict that you're either going to end up with agreeing with me that there's no way to calculate the likelihood of God, or you're going to present something that demonstrates that you're trying to calculate something which is fundamentally identical to the spirits of the deceased that you just admitted you couldn't calculate.
Okay, so first of all, you guys probably know what Bayesian reasoning is, right?
I don't.
I do, but it doesn't matter.
Yep.
We're asking, you just admitted that you had no way of calculating the odds that the spirits of the deceased were powering a car. And now we're asking, how can you, what is your evidence and what is your justification for calculating the odds that a God exists? And how is that God different from spirits of the deceased from our perspective?
Okay, so I think both are similar, but so I think we're getting a little bit confused. So nobody really has a way to calculate this probability, but...
Which probability? The probability that a God exists?
Both of them.
Okay, thank you for agreeing with me and being right again. Therefore, I have no reason to continue talking to you, because if you can't show how likely something is, then you are wasting your time arguing that it is the best explanation or that it is a more likely explanation. As far as I can see, the notion that a God is responsible for the universe is right up there with the notion that the spirits of the dead power Jenna's car, or that underwear gnomes are stealing my underwear, or that magical universe creating pixies farted out this particular universe. It's a waste of time to continue when you're going to claim that you can demonstrate things and then point out that you actually can't.
Okay, so I think maybe I can clarify a little bit. So when we're doing probabilistic reasoning, what we do is we start with some sort of
no, sir.
Probability.
Dimitri, go watch my debates with Blake Junta. Blake is a fabulous proponent of Bayesian probabilistics. And we've had this discussion before. You have no priors when it comes to God. Bayesian analysis is misapplied when it is used to try to demonstrate the existence of something for which you have no priors. I'm not wasting any more time on this because I've debated this Bayesian analysis of God over and over, and you can go watch it online rather than wasting our audience's time.